Yo, what's going on, world? It's your boy Poncho here. Welcome to episode 9 of the Encore Podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is a podcast for artists, musicians, any creative entrepreneur that wants to take their passion for music and art and turn it into a full-time business. So if that's you, tap in with the community, subscribe. I'm here with my co-host today, Cruz.
Hey, thank you, bro. Yo, I couldn't be hyper about this interview. Thank you, Casket, for joining us, bro. We got Casket D.
Yo, love, man.
Straight from the rotten apple.
There you go.
Facts,
Southside Yonkers, baby.
Yeah, facts. Straight from Yonkers,
Shout
bro.
out to Pete Skill and all that, man.
Facts, bro. Thank you for joining us up here. I mean, I consider myself from Yonkers, even though I'm not as from Yonkers as you are. It's the town where I spend most of my life at. So, you know, it's great to connect with you for the first time tonight, too. So
Love,
yeah,
man. I appreciate y'all having me, man. It's something I've been wanting to come and do for a little while now, so I'm glad to be here, definitely.
Hell yeah. So, one thing before we start, shout out Whadafunk. They gave me this hoodie today, and I was modeling for the clothing line today. Shout out them. They have dope shit. Check out.
That's a dope hoodie, by the way.
Nah,
Too.
this shit is hard.
Nah, you gotta see the bag, too.
I seen that
I
peep.
bet, yeah, peep the bag.
That's hard.
Shout out Whadafunk. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
They're from out here?
Yeah, they're from Pisco. Literally right down the street.
I'm gonna get them on the gram before I leave. You heard?
Hell yeah. So real quick, could you tell the people where you came from, how you got started in music, and what you currently do today?
Sure. Well, I'm an artist, an entrepreneur, just a hip hop head in general. I'm from Southside Yonkers, New York. Shout out to the North too. Played both sides, you know. Born and raised Yonkers, New York, and I was influenced at an early age by a lot of older dudes. My sisters are several years younger than me, so I was the only child for a while, and I was running with, you know, my older cousins and their friends and shit like that, who were several years older than me. So I was influenced early. I was off the porch early, put it that way. You know what I mean? I was running around early. And I'm just a hip-hop baby, born and raised. Like, I was influenced by the sounds of early New York stuff primarily, like the Wu, early 90s stuff really, early to mid-90s, the Wu, Nas, Big, all of that. Even Boot Camp Click and all of that. Whatever my older cousins were listening to.
Word.
And they started rapping, and whatever they did, I was gonna do. So I started rapping as well, like as early as junior high. I wasn't recording at that time, but I was writing raps with, shout out to my man CJ from the Hill. We was in school together, and we was writing little raps and all of that.
That's fire.
And then I think around like 13 and 14 is when I started actually really recording. Shout out to the city of Newburgh. Newburgh was the first actual real studio I went to.
All the way up in Newburgh?
Yeah, Newburgh. Yeah. Actually, my man T, he's several years older than us. He was kind of like the front man of our crew. Our crew was called Area 51 back then. We was from Livingston and Radford Street and Culver Park in Yonkers. And T was kind of like the front man. He just was ahead of the curve of everybody else that was doing music and stuff like that.
Was he older than y'all as well?
Yeah, he was the oldest of us too. And he was always cultured. So like he went overseas doing like modeling and stuff like as a teen and stuff like that. So he was like up on game early. And my cousin Maul, he's a computer whiz, a graphic designer. His father was by trade. So he learned at an early age, and he had us recording on his Mac, you know, with the homemade mic and stuff like that, and the bullshit pop filters and all that. But I was like the young boy in the crew. Like I'm telling you, these dudes, I think the next in line to me was at least 5 years older than me, so I'm a lot younger.
A lot younger.
Yeah. So whatever they was doing, I was into, and they kind of groomed me, and that's how I got my start, really.
Fire.
Damn, like.
Just what about today? What do you currently do now?
Today, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I have a great following. I'm independent by choice, really. I would love to have an ideal deal, right? But, you know, growing up, like, around those times when I was younger, you would think, in several years, I'm going to be Jay-Z, you know. And then you start realizing it's not just about talent. It's a business. And you got to find your way navigating through this business and figure out a lane and what to do with things. And I'm an independent artist. I represent MGB, which is, it started off as my crew. Money Green Bosses, you know, and then we transitioned into the business aspect, which is the music side of it, which is Mad Gifted and Bothered. And I'm just trying to spearhead everything there, you know what I'm saying? So right now I got a lot of eyes and energy on me.
For sure.
So I just try to make sure that while I'm holding the flag, I'm representing correctly and putting us in the best position to win.
That's fine.
But ultimately, I'm a creative, right? I'm an artist. I'm a hip hop head, and I love the art form more than anything. You know, the business is my secondary part of it, but I put it primarily first because I know that's what it takes. But my love is genuinely for the art of hip hop and making incredible art for the people that consume it.
Building off of that, would you say that you are like a hip hop purist in the sense that it's like you're looking to preserve like the previous culture and like, you know, as hip hop expands into like the grander scheme of things into communities that really weren't at the root of it? Do you think that like, what do you think is a healthy, quote unquote, healthy perspective on like hip hop's evolution? Like, would you say that we should try to keep it within the roots a little bit, or, you know?
I don't think that. I think that it's dope for the people that want to keep it like that.
Yeah.
And I think for the people that don't, it's cool too, you know? I think a lot of older folks want hip hop how they experienced it 15, 20 years ago. And I think a lot of younger folks never experienced that. So they're looking at them like, I don't give a shit what you talking about. This is what I mean, that's like anything, right? And we're a baby art form. Like if you really think about
That's
it.
a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
2023, I think it'll be 50 years, right? 73 is when they dated it as it started. Shout out to the South Bronx and everything like that, Sedgwick Avenue.
Yep.
We're not even 50 years old. So
Took over the globe.
yeah, it took over everything, the whole world.
It's facts.
I feel like hip hop is a culture. It's most people nowadays think of it as the art form of music. But there's, you know, to the purists, like you're saying, especially the older dudes that experience that, or women. When I say dudes, I don't mean, you know, just men. It's different elements. Graffiti, the DJ, you know what I'm saying? The MC, a bunch of stuff. The B-boys, right? So that's long gone kind of now. That's not in the forefront now. But I feel like hip hop is what it means to you. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those dudes where it's like, nah, that ain't real hip hop. Like I don't like that shit, bro. I'm a lyricist.
For sure.
I'm also by nature an album artist, a conceptual artist. But I listen to trap. You know what I'm saying? I listen to certain quote unquote mumble rap. Like I listen to things that I like. Like it doesn't mean. It's funny because a lot of my friends, shout out to my man Lil Wody, he thinks sometimes he'll be like, but you probably don't listen to this. And I'm like, nah, I do. Just because I don't make music like that don't mean that I don't enjoy it as a consumer. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not one of those who are like, that ain't real or this is bullshit. You know, if I don't like it, it's not for me, that's cool. If it is for me, I embrace it.
Definitely makes sense,
that.
bro.
I respect that. Yo, so anyone that is a parent, I always want to ask this question too.
Yeah.
You have a daughter.
Yes.
How old is she?
6.
Yeah. Okay.
6.
How do you balance being an artist, chasing your dream, and being a father?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, it doesn't have to be tough, but for me it is. And shout out to my guys and my crew. They're all excellent fathers. I'm still together with her mother, so I'm not a part-time father either. My daughter lives with me every day. It's tough, but I have a great support system. Like my lady understands my life. Like I've been doing music 20 plus years since I was a little kid. So we got into this relationship where she understood that. You know what I mean? Like there's 3 things that meant more to me than anything while we got together. And it was my family, my guys, my crew, and my music. So they weren't going nowhere. And she accepts that and understands that there's going to be times I got to not be around and stuff like that. Like in March, we'll be going on a little press run and a little mini tour and stuff.
Fine.
We'll be going for a little while. But my daughter loves it. I try to bring my daughter into my life. You know, what
I
I'm
beat
into.
that in the album. That shit was dope.
Yes,
Yeah.
That was fine. I
You
like
gotta
that.
speak in
I
like
that.
all that.
Yeah, I
love
appreciate that. Because I have a lot of free time when she was little, my grandmother was watching her, and I would spend a lot of time with her too. And she absorbed a lot of me. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of my interests, she's very into. I'm a huge sports head. I never was like the best at sports, but I love it. My daughter is athletic like I wasn't. So I get to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She loves it. Right now, she plays softball for 2 years. She's 6. She's been playing with the 9-year-olds for 2 years. We just got her in basketball. She's training hard. So she shares a lot of my interests. And for me, it's like family's first. But at the same, it's a balance. It's like anything. If you work a 9 to 5, right? You might not want to be at work, but you got to put bills on. You got to pay bills. So you got to do what you got to do. I'm just blessed that I have a family that understands and accepts it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure that obviously makes it way easier. So
definitely,
it's a blessing.
You don't gotta be fighting with them all.
Nah, and my daughter, like I try to teach her things that I'm interested in, because as she grows older and gets into things that I might not be into, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Put me into your interests. You know what I'm saying? It might not be for me, but give me the opportunity.
No, I know a lot of parents that like they try and steer their kids away from music. That's
it's a rough business, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, any time entertainment is, it's like you could be chasing. Like I'm blessed enough where I'm doing well enough right now, but so many people aren't, right? So, but I don't want to deter my daughter, or if I have any more kids, away from their dreams. Like, I feel like when you let that go, a part of you dies. That's how I really feel.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, chase your dream. If you maintaining while still doing what you got to do, then cool. Like, I'm with all of that. And school is great. We put the pressure on her with school all the time too. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I want you to be cultured and do things that interest you. And everything isn't just, become a doctor or lawyer. There's got to be artists out there too. There's got to be creators out there.
That's a fact.
Facts for sure. I mean, that's like, in my opinion, like the segment of life that needs to be pushed on even more than it already is. Because it's like, academics are great, but like what makes life beautiful and worth living a lot of times is the art that comes with it. So
I
agree,
man.
I love that you.
I agree, but it's tough. Anytime you guys have children.
Nah.
It's hard, man.
Yeah.
Kids ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my dudes and female friends that have multiple. I only have one. And it's tough. But when you're a constant like parent, like I said, I coach all her teams.
Oh yeah.
So I coach her basketball team, her softball team. I'll be coaching everything going on. So that takes a lot of time out too. You know what I mean? But I try to just balance as much as I can to make sure, like if I'm releasing the album, I released Healer recently. Fall, she didn't have a sport playing. Softball is a spring sport. Basketball is a winter sport. I released it in the fall, so I knew that I would have a little bit extra time. Yeah, I'll be going on press and doing stuff like that, but I had more time then than if she was playing a sport at that given time. You know what I'm saying? So I trying to work around.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's fire. I like that. Yeah, that's dope.
It's dope, man. Kids is the best shit. It's the best blessing you'll ever have. Believe me.
You think that's the best thing in your life?
Without a doubt. God is good to me.
Fire.
Well, just building off the last thing you said, like you talk about your press runs a lot. I know you travel a lot. You go to Houston, you go to Florida in times. Like just intro question to this series of questions that I have for you, just in terms of your traveling and your press runs. How do you organize your press runs? Like, what is like the foundation of like your purpose when you go on press runs, and how do you really manage those sorts of moves for yourself? Like, what's your priority when you go on those trips?
So, for me, I'm strategic with a lot of things, right? I like to say I'm calculated. I released my first real album, the 80 Loafs LP, in 2015. And for a year and a half to almost 2 years, I didn't release anything after that. And I headlined every prominent show in New York and surrounding areas, like any venues.
Fire.
And it was great.
This was 2018? My fault.
This was 15.
15.
So
15,
from 2015 to 2017, I focused on shows, concerts. And I headlined many of them and made decent money and had great times. Like,
when you say focus, was that like focus when you're traveling, or just in general building your fan base?
That was like my main focus with that album. Okay, so with that album, I was like, I'm gonna put out multiple visuals, and I'm gonna focus on doing a lot of live shows from it. And it worked out great. Performing live is like, it's a different type of drug. It's beautiful. And if you're the headlining act, most of the people are there to see you, so it's great. Like, that crowd energy. After that, I realized that I wasn't gaining as much fans, because when you're the headlining act, most of the people are already familiar with you already, right?
Yeah.
So I said, for my next major project, which ended up being Southie, which was we put out Past the Paper project, shout out to my brother Blizz, and PPP2 in between that. And I knew my next full length that was going to release after that was Southie. And I said, I'm not going to focus so much on the shows. Yeah, I might lose some money because I was making decent money with these shows. But I'm going to focus more on press because I wanted to grow my brand and grow my fan base.
That's interesting.
And I started doing more press than shows, and it actually worked in my favor, and it did grow. I also knew that Southie was the product to do that with because it was like a phenomenal project. And if you back it up with doing interviews all over the place, more people. I realized this also, one, from trial and error, and two, because I'm a fan of music myself, right? Besides being an artist. And there might be some artists that I might not really care for their music or never really dove into it. And then I might see them on an interview and like, yeah, I fuck with old boy.
Facts.
Let me check his shit out. Or vice versa. There might be somebody where I kind of like their music and I see an interview and it turns me off. Like either way. So doing interviews and press and stuff like that, it kind of gives the fans or just the general public, even if they're not familiar with you, a way into who you are as opposed to your music. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I think that's more important, honestly.
I believe so too, from trial and error.
Yeah.
So just building off of that, like, you know, because this is a podcast really focused on giving game back to the creative and artist community. Like, how do you approach, you know, landing these opportunities on different podcasts? Is this something that you actively pursue, or do you kind of just start to like plant seeds in different like, how do you approach like really making the most of your time, like while you're traveling and trying to do a press run?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So as like I said earlier, a few years back, when I didn't have as big of a maybe core audience as now, I'm reaching out to everybody. Now I still do the same, but I got a lot of people reaching out to me as well. So, and if I know I'm going somewhere, like if I'm setting something up, like this March we'll be going back down south. I know I'm gonna be out there for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, I'm setting stuff up. Either they're reaching out to me, and if they didn't reach out to me, I'm reaching out to them too, or I'm having somebody reach out to them. And we're just trying to set up as much as possible. I think the biggest advice I could give for any artist is get out of your area. I think that's the worst thing that many artists do. They're so focused on where they're from, and it gets you, and I love where I'm from, but it doesn't get, like, it don't get you where you need to go. You know what I'm saying? It's a big world out there, bro. Like, you can go overseas, and somebody from your hometown might not even know that you do whatever you do and be banking, 6 figures, well overseas every year. So it's like, stop being stagnant and put yourself in that little box. I think people are so caught up on being noticed where they're from. They want the applause. But for me, where I'm from in Yonkers, like, people knew me outside of music. Yeah. So I never cared for, it's like, I need the pats on my back musically from the people that I know. They knew me before that. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reasons.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that a lot of younger artists, and not even just younger artists, but just artists, period, struggle with. They remain local because they don't take avenues to get past being local.
Yeah. You said once you...
It's important.
Facts. If you stay stationary, that's where your music stay too.
There you go.
So, that... And that really resonated with me as well. So, like, I know you've been really, you're a person from your city that you really rep it. You've been well connected there since the beginning. So, you've had the opportunity to really build a very localized fan base and have that core audience, at least from, like, where you're from. Would you also recommend before, of course, you got to, travel, make use of that time, but really focusing maybe a little bit on, like, your local demographic before you travel? Or is it like,
I personally wouldn't.
Really?
I personally wouldn't. I don't think, I'm proud of where I'm from. I love where I'm from. But first of all, with hip hop especially, everybody does it.
Facts.
Does hip hop just
everybody?
Like
in some aspect.
Yeah.
So I could be the best dude from my city, right? And no matter what, somebody around the corners, man, raps too, and they can't rep for you more. They might want to, but they can't rep for you more than they rep for their man. So you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, that's local. But when you go past being local, that doesn't happen no more. Because these people don't know you personally. So they're legitimate fans. Mm-hmm. I live by the model that if everybody that listens to your music knows you, you didn't get one fan yet. Not one. They know you. Mm-hmm. Some people support because you're their friend. Some people support because it looks cool to do because you're popping right now at the moment. Like, I personally wouldn't. But I'm not the, the end all be all either. What works for somebody works for somebody. What works for me might not work for them. For me, I wouldn't focus on where I'm from. I would focus on everywhere. Anywhere you could gain a fan, the more the better.
Dope. Damn, I definitely feel that.
This is something to touch on that. My merchandise sales, right? I've been selling merchandise since I've been putting out stuff. I think 2013, when I put out the Southie hats, maybe 2013, 2014, 15, whenever that is. It's almost approaching a decade now. 90-something% of my sales come from people that I don't know. Guaranteed. Not even people that I'm great friends with sometimes buy my stuff. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't expect, I think that's where a lot of artists go wrong, or creatives, period. They expect so much from the people that they know.
Talk about it.
Facts.
You know, nobody owes you nothing in this game, man. Go out and get it.
In life, period.
In life.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah. That's
Valid.
real. Yo, you said one thing I wanted to hit on again, how you reach out to platforms. Like, I feel like so many artists are not willing to do that. Why do you think that is? And do you think that
could be
hurts
maybe
them?
a couple reasons. It could be they don't know how to. It could be ego. It could be a lot of artists, creatives, period. It doesn't have to do with music, just anyone. We're sensitive. You could feel like you're deserved, entitled to much more than you're getting.
Yeah.
You got to be able to swallow your pride and understand this is a business. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like anything that could benefit me, I'll try to utilize.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, I would expect the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should do that. This is a business. Like, you guys run a platform, a beautiful platform. Salute, tip my hat to you guys.
Thank you, bro.
It's something that you should be doing. If not, some people are just content with being where they're at. And I'm not. I'm never content. That's not me. I want to, if I'm here today, next year, by this time, I want to be doubling what I'm doing, tripling what I'm doing. That's my goal at all times.
OD.
If it doesn't happen, I'm going to go out trying to make it happen. I'm not going to just sit around. This ain't a game to be sitting around thinking that something's magically going to happen. That does happen, but it's the lottery. How many people won the lottery? I don't know, not one person.
I don't know one.
Nah.
I literally heard someone call it the lottery mindset. Like, for the producers, like, I'm just going to send an email to A Bookie and he going to see it, and fucking the lottery mindset.
You know how many emails that man gets? I get so many emails from producers a day.
Yeah.
And I'm not nowhere near as big as A Boogie. So imagine what somebody like A Boogie does.
Facts, though.
Yeah. It's not a lottery, man. Go out and get it. Like, you got to do it. If this is something
make
you love.
A Boogie reach out to you.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Gain worth. Gain we all know our own worth, right? But talent, this is a big thing that I realized. Talent doesn't equate to market worth. So your own talent worth might not be the same as your market worth. The market dictates what you're worth.
That's a fact.
You dictate what you're worth talent-wise because you know where you stand. But the market, if they don't know that, you're what the market says. That's just reality. You got to go get it, man. Don't let ego get in the way. That's what I feel with a lot of artists, I would say. Don't let ego get in the way. Don't wait for something to happen. Go out there and grab it, man. Rub elbows with people. That's one thing I wish I did more now. Like I said, when you were talking about being a father, I'm not out as much as I used to be several years ago.
Yeah.
And that in some instances can hinder me. But I try to make up for it in other ways. But rub elbows, man. You got to rub elbows with people.
What are some examples that you would recommend just connecting with either platforms, since that's, the topic that we're touching on, platforms, or maybe other artists as well, or just other types of people in the industry? Any tips for reaching out to people, at least online, or maybe in person as well? Whatever you want to touch on with that.
Your demographic means a lot too. So
what do you mean by that?
Depending, like, if you're a musician, the type of music you make.
Okay.
So if you make lit music, meaning like kind of like pop and bottle music, radio friendly music, stuff then you should be trying to rub elbows with people that have plugs with radio. You should be trying to rub elbows with people that are DJs or in the club.
Shit.
Yeah.
If you make music that's for the quote purest hip hop consumers, then you should be definitely reaching out to the blog era is not the same what it used to be, but blogs and different stuff like that, doing venues that cater to that. You gotta have a plan, man. Like, just making good
talk
music.
about that. So many people just wing this shit. Like, so many.
Big time.
Most artists, I feel like, just wing this shit.
And that's why nothing happens. This isn't to be a doctor or a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? You know what it takes to become a doctor or a lawyer. Mm-hmm. You go to school, you get your bachelor's, you get your master's, then you go get your doctorate, or you hit the bar, you go to law school, take your bar. There's no blueprint for this. You got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And trying to follow somebody else's path that doesn't do what you do is not going to work in your favor. I'm not a strip club artist. So for me, focusing on it, when we go down south, we get records in the strip club, but that's not my main goal. So when we go there, yeah, I might have a walkthrough and I have a single that's catered to that audience. I'll make sure but if I don't have something at that given moment at time, I'm not focused on the strip clubs then. Because that's not my audience at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
You got to plan things out, plot it out, and strategize. I feel like most artists don't do that, and it hinders them. They're just making music and putting it out there on social media. Digitally is not just enough either, because who's following you? If you have 1,000 followers, 10% might listen to your thing. So what's that? 100 people listened? Is that enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not just enough. You got to figure things out. And it's no like right or wrong. You know what I mean? It's a lot of trial and error. I think this is a big thing that a lot of artists do too. They hold on to their art.
Oh my fucking God. Nah.
Hold on in terms of not releasing, or
it's not ready yet. People say all these fucking excuses.
Yeah. It's like, how many people, we all know people, I know people that are talented that they've been doing this shit just as long as I have, and they've put out maybe one thing.
Yeah.
One project. So in 15 years, you put out one project.
I feel like that's fair. I personally think that's fair.
Fair, I believe so too.
Yeah, fair judgment, fair of all that. Yeah,
we're sensitive. Artists are sensitive, man. You know, but you got to get past that. If you want to make a career of it, if you want to just make it as a hobby, it doesn't matter. But if you want to make a career of something, imagine you not going to work for a week.
Word.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Fucking
You
fire.
know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You got to make something happen, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make something happen.
Damn.
Shit.
You mentioned earlier, you know, since we were on the topic of like, you know, touching down in different places, traveling. In another interview, you mentioned that some of like your core audience was in like, you mentioned Houston, Florida, Ohio, and Phoenix, which I feel like are pretty, you know, unorthodox types of areas. Like, how do you think you acquired those audiences, and how did you try to make, you know, use of those? Because, you know, I know you mentioned once that you said you had an audience in Phoenix, so you had to touch down.
I haven't been there. Still haven't been there.
Yeah, you still haven't been there yet?
No.
Yeah,
I plan to get there, man. Because I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that shit. Like, I look at analytics. I look at all of that stuff. My mans will tell you, like, some of my people, they like, yo, you bugged out. I plan out my Instagram posts. Like, I have them planned out in advance.
Yeah.
For me, this is a business. This is my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's so funny. It's really ironic because I love the art so much that I don't really care about the business aspect, but I know if I don't care, who's going to care about it for me?
Yeah.
So I have to be. But like Phoenix is something that I want to touch. I've looked at, I only knew that I have great audience there because I look at my analytics on Spotify and Apple Music and things. I'm getting a lot of streams there. I'm getting a lot of streams in Buffalo. So these are places I need to touch. As far as Houston, my partner 20, shout out to 20, he just called me right before we started shooting. He moved out there years ago. And he's from Yonkers too, South Side, grew up in the same neighborhood. He moved out there, and we hated it when he said he was moving out there. We was like, what you mean? He just built a studio, an in-house studio in his apartment over in our neighborhood, and we was recording there. We were like, you can't move. Like, we just getting shit rolling. Like, he was like, nah, I need to. It's better for my family. And he moved, and in hindsight, it's been one of the best things for us because it gave us a whole new audience. It gave us a whole new avenue.
His whole network too. Whatever
Big
he
time.
does is good for you. Like all that.
He's a main engineer out there. He's worked with all the big artists from Texas. And before that, he was DJing for a long time. And he was DJing for all the main artists out there. So all of his connects, we gained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it worked in our favor. Like, we could go out there. I get a lot of my features come from Texas area. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of my paid features and stuff come from Texas area. And I'm not gonna say he's a big part. He's the reason because of that. If he had not went out there, we wouldn't have touched that market.
Yeah.
Because why would I would have never went to Texas.
Damn, bro.
My music would have never probably went there. Maybe it would have went there nowadays, but I would have had no real reasons of going there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that kind of leads into what I wanted to ask you because like you putting numbers on the board. Like it's called a spade. You are, but like you also do a lot of things. Like we talked about press runs, we talked about concerts before, social media. We talked about music videos. In your opinion, what do you think is the thing that gives you most of your audience?
I think it's a combination of all the things you were just saying.
Yeah.
I don't think one's enough no more. You know what I mean? Like and you got to be able to adapt. The game changes all the time. Like when I came into the game, not when I put out real albums, but I put out my first album in 2015. Before that, I put out several mixtapes in the streets when I was really just super local. That's when it was hand in hands. We were pressing those albums up mixtapes up and handing them out and selling them, whatever we could do. The game changed. You got to evolve. I don't think your art should evolve, but I don't think you should chase trends with your art. But what you should do is definitely evolve with the way the game changes. So when streaming came into play and it became a major player, I realized that I got to focus on streams, and I don't make a ton. Like this year, I'm going to just spitball, but I probably did 10 million streams all around this year, right? You don't make a lot of money off that. But what I do is I use that as leverage to make opportunities and money in different places because I have a profile, you know what I mean? So like right now, I have partnerships with Google. These are the bigger brands, Google, Vans, and I just partnered with Nike Diamond, which is their subdivision for softball and baseball. Those are the bigger brands. Then I have a lot of other partnerships with beard companies and different kind of local.
The beard goes crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Sudan, my brother Sudan. I ain't gonna lie, it's a good story. I used to talk wild shit about his beard. Yo, why? Fuck that beard, da da da. Because I always wanted a beard and I never had the balls to actually grow it or the patience to grow it. Because you got to go through you got long hair, but braids, right? You had braids before. Yeah. There's something we call the ugly stage, right?
Oh, bro,
Ugly stage. You got to go through the ugly stage with a beard too. That shit sucks, bro. It itches. It looks bad after it grows past like a certain point. And I could never get past that. So I was lightly hating on my brother. I ain't gonna lie. And then one year I was like, yo, fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. And I did it. So he likes to throw that jab. Yeah, I set the trend. He did though, for me at least.
That's great.
And now you got the partnerships with that.
Yeah. So shout out to Viking Revolution and Honest Amish. I got partnerships going on with them. Like the stream, I spend way more money on my art than I make off of streams a year. Way more. So I try to make up for that with what I could capitalize off of with my profile. Social media is a beautiful world nowadays. Like you could make six figures just being an influencer and never work a day in your life.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? So I don't think a lot of people think about things like this. They just, like you said, most people are just going with the flow. With the flow ain't gonna get you nowhere, bro. Like
I don't blame people for that. And this is kind of why we started this podcast. Like just people don't really know.
They don't know. You're right.
Yeah.
They're ignorant, and that's the definition of ignorance. Is you just not knowledgeable about something, and that's fine. But we're also at, you're right. People don't know, but we're also at a day and age where we have computers in our hand 24/7. So the knowledge is there. If you don't want it, it's because you choose not to learn.
Yeah, that's a fact. I agree with that.
So you gotta whatever it is, just go learn, bro. Go do it, man. It's not easy. It ain't gonna be easy. Like this year, I had deals thrown my way. I turned them down. They weren't the right deals for me, but I know I earned them opportunities. Okay. But if I would have just not been focused on trying to do what I wanted to do, like you got to have a plan, you got to have a goal, and then be able to audible. I think that's big too because it don't never go your way. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there was a point in time I thought I'm gonna be Jay-Z. By the time I'm 22 years old, I'll be Jay-Z because I'm this nice. Yeah, why not? That's not how life. Yep. You got to figure it out, be able to audible.
Interesting.
Fire, bro. Damn. One thing you touch on a lot is something that like you're really not settled. Like you don't like to settle in one place in life. Like you like to always be progressing. Like one album, one project, one single to the next. You like to be progressing. But at the same time, you've been doing this for a long time. So I'm sure at some points like you've seen a little bit of a dip in performance in some way. What's really your mentality on like working through those dips? Like how do you like try to adjust? Like what do you look for in terms of like if you're doing something is seeing a constant progression and then you see a little dip? Like how do you work around that? It's situational, I'm sure.
You're right. Yeah. I think it's like anything in life, peaks and valleys. But valley don't last. Peaks will come. They only last if you stop. So
That's
if you're on a trail and you're going down to a valley and you stop at that valley because you're worn out, you're going to stay at that valley. But if you keep trucking, eventually you're going to reach a peak again. So I feel like you got to work through all that shit, man. Like, I forget who it was. It might have been my homegirl, Geminelle, who's an incredible artist. I don't know who it was. It was a couple years back now. But somebody asked me, yo, how do you, when you're going through stuff, still find, because a lot of people always say like, yo, you're so consistent. And I feel like that's key with anything. And then somebody asked me, how do you find a way to be consistent when you're going through shit? Because life always has a way of taking a toll. And I'm like, I work through it. That's my medicine. I just work through it. Like for me, it's like my art reflects my life. I don't have gimmicks. That's why we don't know each other personally, right? Like we've never hung out together. You guys know you asked me about being a parent. You guys know that because I put that out there. I don't have gimmicks. Like my music, my art reflects my life. Like I'm not with the gimmicks. And there's nothing wrong if that's who you are. That's fine. But for me, like I didn't want to live a facade. So my art is going to reflect that. And I just used my art as a escape. That's my therapy. Like some people don't believe this. I swear on everything. I'm blessed that I have an audience. But I literally make music for myself.
I can hear that.
Yeah,
I make music for when I'm content with the album and I know it's great. If people don't love it, I'm cool with that because I was cool with it. Of course, I want them to. Don't get it twisted. Like, shout out to Steel. We did a record on his new album that's gonna be coming out. And while we were doing that record, recording it at his studio, we were talking about that. He was like, "What you mean you don't do it for people?" Like he didn't believe me, and I was like, "Nah, bro, I really don't." I make music for myself. When I'm content with it, whoever embraces it, I'm happy with that. Whoever doesn't, of course I wish they would, but if they don't, I'm cool because I fell in love with it. And then he understood what I was saying.
That's major.
And
I feel like artists get depressed when people don't fuck with this shit. I feel like that's the answer to not letting that like kill you or throw you off.
Nah, you right. I thought that was a snap. Yo, what's up? I can't see, bro. Now you're right. We're sensitive, bro. When you put something into the world, you're gonna get critiqued.
Yeah,
I'm a big film buff. I critique a lot of movies. Actually, I got a podcast that I'm gonna start this upcoming year.
You got a podcast personality. That shit.
We have a podcast. Shout out to my brother Sudan.
Really?
And my bro Desco. We have a podcast called the Trap Car Podcast, which is primarily about sports, but it's sports and culture and just kind of bullshitting with your homies.
Okay.
But because I'm such a film dude, I'm starting one this upcoming year that's called The Real Verdict, and it's gonna be with me, and I'm gonna have guests on, and it's all about movies, maybe some TV too, but it's basically about cinema, and I critique it. So when you put out music, people are gonna critique you, man. You gotta have thick skin. I don't all the time. Like I take shit personal, bro. I'm a Cancer. Like I take everything. I'm emotional. I take everything personal, but I don't take it personal to the point where it's like I'm also. You gotta be more confident in yourself and your ability, and everything's not for everybody.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. So you don't really try to too much look at like what worked at this point in terms of like theme wise, and really try to like target that theme. Like you really just try to keep it like mostly. What you feel like is the right product of your current mental state or life at this point. Like,
yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no?
Yes and no.
Adapt a little bit to maybe what worked the last time? Kind of, sort of? Yeah.
All right, shout out to my brother Blizz. After I dropped Southie, right, which I touched on earlier.
Yeah.
The next thing I was going to release was called PPP, which it's the Pass the Paper Project. And it guest stars my brother Blizz on it. And I was nervous about putting that out prior to its release because I was nervous that my audience that I gained were not going to understand that that's a different thing than my next solo album, right? So I was scared about it. And I let certain people hear it like in my inner circle and they were like, this shit is dope. And I'm like, I know it's dope. It's not that it's not dope. I was underestimating people's ability to understand that it wasn't my next solo. And I was like, this isn't what comes after Southie. It is technically, but it's not like their differences. You know what I'm saying? And I was scared about it. And we put it out and it worked. And way more people understood what it was than I gave credit to prior to. So yes, I do think about stuff like that a lot. But I also know that dope is dope. You know what I'm saying? The people that gravitate towards the PPPs, they might not gravitate towards the healers, right? But there's an audience for the PPPs, there's an audience for the healers. And then there's an audience that absorb it all. My thing is, as long as I'm being true to myself as an artist, I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to chase something like a sound. Like when you hear PPP, those projects are me. They're just me on a little bit different production than I would do myself. Because for me to challenge myself, I've been doing music a long time. To challenge myself, I'm at nature, at heart, I'm a conceptual artist. Most of my solo albums are concept albums. Healer's a concept album. Southie is a concept album. The 80 Loafs is a concept album. PPP's it is a themed album. It's not a concept album. It's a themed album. Sewer's Theme is a themed album. It's not a concept album. So there's differences. Sewer's Theme is me more so on stripped down boom bap, where I don't. There's 2 Sewer's Themes that I released so far. There's only 2 hooks on each of those albums. It's just me just going through the beats, just dumping off. I would love to just be able to do that, but that doesn't challenge me just enough. That's easy to do. My solo albums is what really challenged me, because those are the things that I really I dive deep into my creative side and try to make it a concept.
That's fine.
PPP, I do with my brother Blizz, because those are, for lack of better terminology, those are more so my trap records, where they're more so on 808 influenced beats, more turned up, you know. I'm still giving you me, but that's a side of me too, because a lot of people say this all the time about Pac, right? And Pac's one of my favorite artists. And there were certain people that I would have this debate with sometimes, and they were like, Pac was a hypocrite. I'm like, no, Pac was a human. I might want to dog women out in one day, but I never want my sister or my mother or my daughter to get dogged out. That's being human. That's not being a hypocrite. That's being human.
Yeah.
That's reality. So I have different sides of me. And that's where certain projects come into play. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like,
definitely makes sense.
For me, if you're an artist, whatever it is, not even just musically, if you paint, if you do anything, just be yourself, man. People are either gonna absorb it and accept it and love it or hate it, and that's fine.
Yo, I have one question about your music specifically that I was listening to, and I wondered if this affected you or not. You rap about God a lot.
Yeah.
Does that? I feel like that could do both of these things. One, bring certain people closer to you, and 2, deter people.
Sure.
Have you noticed that?
I haven't noticed it firsthand, but I could see that for sure. For sure.
Have you had anyone comment on it or speak on it? I always wonder, like, when people rap about politics and religion, if that actually affects their
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
It's touchy. Those are touchy subjects, right?
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't believe in something, you might deter them away, like you said. For me, I try to speak personally. So I'm not preaching to you like, yo, turn to God. I'm telling you what worked for me. I'm telling you my life story. And I had, shout out to, I think they're Not My Mans. And they review music and they have a podcast and stuff like that. And I forget homie's name, but one of the dudes in that organization reviewed Healer. And he said, first thing he said is, I'm not religious by any means, but it spoke to me. It was very spiritual, but not in a preachy way. I didn't mean for it to be not preachy or preachy. I just did what worked for me, right? So I try to give people me. I don't, I'm a Christian. I got Muslim friends that I love. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them people, like, sometimes I lean conservative politics-wise, sometimes I lean liberal. I'm not one of them people where it's like, fuck you if you don't think how... I'm not a fascist, bro. You could think however you want. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But yes, you're right. It can deter people. It also could bring people closer to you and closer to something that means something to you, which God is a big part of my life. I'm just going to give the people me,
I respect that.
How you take it is how you take it, Also, shit, How many suburban kids loved NWA? They wasn't out there shooting people up and getting their ass whipped by cops. So you don't necessarily have to live the same music that you love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I also understand that aspect. That's a pro to it. Some people might not give a shit about spirituality or religion, but the music's good music to them. And then there's some people, like you said, that they're so strong about it where it's like, this ain't for me. He's talking about something that I don't care about. That's fine too, you know?
Cool. I always wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I think that was
It could work in your favor and against it. I personally feel, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Word.
Yeah, more. I got 2 more questions.
For sure. So, one thing
Yo,
you
y'all
talk
look
about
good,
a
man.
lot.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
Yeah, this is fire.
Yo, bro, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
loving
gotta piss, bro.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'll go piss too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Take a piss break.
All right, we back with Cruz.
Yeah, facts.
ready?
So I was about to. So one thing I was about to touch on, bro, is like one thing that you talk about a lot is just like the team and the people that you surround yourself with, and you keep a lot of day ones with you, of course. Like, you know, you move with them, you're here with them today, you talk about them a lot. One thing I thought was interesting is that like you say you don't really outsource a lot of the things that you work with right now. Besides visuals, is one of the things that you say you do outsource. So I'm wondering if you could speak on just like the what value that has brought to you, like just working with a similar sort of team, and maybe even visual wise, like maybe why you have like you work with other visuals and just whatever you want to touch on that.
That's the one thing that we've started transitioning now. Now we're basically not outsourcing for that as well.
Oh, okay, word.
So,
yeah, you got like an in-house sort of.
Yeah, I do stuff. My partner 20, we call him Cheddar. I was about to call him Cheddar. That's his name for us.
Yeah.
But down there in Texas, they know him as 20. He's shooting visuals now. My next visual that I'll be putting off a Healer is Heaven, the record Heaven, and that was done in-house. I got my little brother shooting stuff for us now. I'll do editing, and he's been doing the shots when we were out.
Your blood brother?
Yeah, my blood brother.
Oh yeah, word.
Yeah, Dublin. Shout out
Fire.
to Dublin. We're really not outsourcing for much no more. We got engineers. Shout out to Grammy Salazar, Domex. Those are our in-house producers. Tally Boom.
Why you? I mean, maybe not against, but why don't you like to outsource?
Well, I do. Like most of my albums, you're gonna hear multiple producers on, and some of them, like a lot of them, aren't in my camp.
But not the mix though on your vocals.
My
Right.
brother 20 mixes and masters everything of mine. The last person that mixed and mastered anything from me outside of 20 was my brother Grammy, who's our in-house producer and my brother. He did a lot of stuff on the PPP and PPP2. Healer, which was my latest release, 20 did all of that. My release before that, prior to that, was Pick Your Poison. Shout out to my bro Dozer, the drum dealer, another dope artist out of Brooklyn, New York. He produced every record on that album except one, which Grammy produced, and mixed and mastered that. So he's an artist, a producer, and an engineer. He's incredible.
Fire.
The project I released before that, which was Suicide 2, which all 3 of these were this year. My brother 20 mixed and mastered all of that. For me, that's a big reason why I haven't inked with any, whether it's major or any other, companies. I want a partnership. I want a partnership with a major. We're bringing to the table everything we need except for big money and big plugs. We handle all the marketing, all the graphic design, all the merchandise design, all the merchandise production, all the engineering. The production, I reach out to other producers, but that's because I want different sound. But we don't have to. We have, several producers that we work with. It's just, I feel it's important to build a company. And these are my brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, 20 has been my brother for 20 plus years. He's my main engineer. He's my business partner. He does graphic design. Now he's shooting videos.
Yo, wait, real quick. Do you ever? This is something that I've dealt with that's really fucked me up to the point that I don't do it anymore. I don't work with my close friends.
Yeah.
I keep that completely separate. It seems like you do the opposite.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do things outside of this business.
Yeah.
That I'm in now.
Yeah.
Cause we all been a part of this dream before it became a business. When it was just I'm not gonna say a hobby, but a dream.
Yeah. Have you pushed them a little bit just because like you're finding success that they sort of take their craft more seriously because they can latch on to your success?
I think we all push each other for sure, and I think them seeing me gain what I've gained, definitely motivates for sure. For me, I like to equate this as boxing. So I'm a sports guy, so I use it as boxing because I feel like, yes, I'm the one in the ring. I might be the face, but there's a cut man, there's a trainer, there's a sparring partner, there's your nutritionist. There's a lot of people that go into that success. My brother Blizz, who's here with me today, he's a founding father of the whole MGB thing.
Facts, shout out Blizz.
When we started it, I was the only artist. Then my brother Pax, my brother Doobs first, right? Our brother Doobs, but he stopped rapping after shortly. And then our bro Pax and Sinister, and then it was all of us and Blizz. Blizz was kind of the last to rap out of all of us. So really, it was like me, Pax, and Sim were really pushing, and he was kind of like coming off the bench a little bit, right? But he's always been the biggest engine in this movement. And now he's become, after me, he's the main engine musically of what we got going on because he's that bug bit him, and he's been working his ass off and finding his own lane and putting out material. So I think we just all build off each other, and we all have a common goal. We all have, like I said, it all boils down to two. We have a real brotherhood. So for me, I live by this motto, and I know he does, and a handful of us do. Any one of our successes is our success. I tell people all the time, like shout out to my brother Watson. I had a billboard in Times Square for Suicide. And I brought him out there to see it, to unveil it. I didn't tell nobody it was gonna happen. I brought him out there, and he was like open, like, yo, that's crazy, bro. That's big shit. And I was like, that's your picture. So he does a lot of like our behind the scenes photography. And I'm like, that's your picture, you know that, right? So make sure you understand that's your work up there right there too. I don't think people sometimes understand that it's a team thing. So they might see, because I'm the face of a lot of things, if you equate it to just me, then you're not understanding what it really boils down to. Yeah. To me, the brand is always bigger than the person, and it should always be like that.
One team, one dream.
One team, one dream. That's been our motto for a long time.
Facts. That's why I'm saying it. Facts.
Since we started this shit, it was one team, one dream.
That's hard.
And I think some people didn't understand that enough, because we all started off the same. But as I started growing and my success came, it's hard to accept that sometimes. Dude, I'm competitive. I get on the track with Blizz. I get on the track with my cousin Genesis, my brother Black, my brother Pax, my brother Blizz, Sin, my brother Sin. Any of the dudes that are part of this camp, I want to smoke them, bro. I don't want them I don't want nobody talking about their verse more than mine. Yeah. But if they end up gaining the notoriety off of that record, I feel great because we won. Now, if you're not in my camp, like if I do a record with, shout out to all the dudes I mess with, but if you're not in my camp and we do a record and people are talking about your verse more than mine, I don't feel good about that. I lost. My camp didn't get the W there. We took that L. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If somebody says, yo, Bliss smoked you on that, I might debate it, but I'm cool. Yeah. Somebody say Pac smoked you on that, I might debate it, but I'm cool with that because we won. I don't think everybody has that mentality. Yeah. And I know God put me in positions to be where I'm at because I have that mentality. I'm a team player, bro. Yeah. I've always been. Not everybody is. Not saying my camp, I'm just saying period. Some people aren't. But I'm also very competitive and egotistical too. I still want to be the best. And I think that if we all feel like that, we win. Word.
You got a very healthy duality from the outside. It seems like a very healthy, where it's like you always constantly pushing yourself, and you have like a healthy sort of comparison that's always driving you. But at the same time, you appreciate your camp. You never want to like sort of overstep them in a way.
You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
In anything, we're talking musically now, but that's anything, man. And the people that I'm talking about are my brothers for real, man. Like if we never did music, Shout out to Sin. I'm gonna say a little story about Sin. Sin is my brother. Sin been doing music as long as me. Pac started doing music after me. Black started doing music after me. My cousin Genesis started doing music after me. Sin's the only person in our camp that been doing music just as long as me. We did it before we linked up together and started doing it together. Sin, for a little bit of time, kind of like been lacking off a little bit. He was going through some shit. Like, life gets in the way. And he wasn't putting out as much music as I'm sure he would wish or nor we would wish. He's one of my favorite artists. And I think that would bother him. Like, he would feel like I was disappointed in him. And I'm like, yo, bro, if you never did music a day again in your life, you're my brother. Music doesn't make us brothers.
Yeah.
That's just an additive to it. Yes, I love that we do music together. I love that you do music because I'm a fan. But if you say tomorrow I quit, our relationship don't change. You still my family. I think that's a big part because I can get mad at my business partners when it comes to this brand because they're my brothers. Now, if you're not my family like that and we get mad at each other, that can cause a real rift where, if it's just business that's holding things together, that's not enough. But I also believe what you're saying. Like, we started this before it became a business. Would I go into actual business with all of my brothers? No, not all of them. Some of them. Some of them are terrible with fucking money. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't have the drive. Would I go into profitable business with some of them? No, I wouldn't. Some of them I would.
I told myself I'm never getting in business with any of my close friends again. Cause it's ruined too many relationships.
I believe that's the majority as opposed to the minority. Yeah. It's probably ruined more relationships than it's helped. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. Like I said, I wouldn't do it with most of my brothers. Some of them I would. Some of them with certain things I would. Some of them with certain things I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. I learned that in the streets, bro. When we were grinding and hustling, I had brothers that I loved to death. I know they would have took a bullet for me and gave a bullet for me. Mm-hmm. We gave them some work to move, and they fucked up the bread every time. That's not for them. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know who's who. Like we say this all the time. You gotta know who's your party friends and who's your friends that's there for the long haul. Mm-hmm. Some people are cool to hang out with. That don't mean that they're gonna be there when shit hit the fan. Understand that before it hits the fan. Don't learn the hard way. And that comes with business too. Like, why would you go into business with somebody who has no drive? Why would you go into business with somebody who's poor with financials, whether it be profiting or even their own money? I wouldn't go into business with somebody that can't keep something. If you can't keep a job, a house, a relationship, I won't go into business with you. I love you. I might love you, but I won't go into business with you. You can't maintain something. If I'm wrong for that, fuck it.
Yes, yeah. It's just business. It's not personal.
You got to be able to understand the difference between that too. And that's what I say. We have a big clique. Not everybody's a part of our business though. Mm-hmm. You got to bring something to the table. Because when them big checks start coming in, you can't expect to be eating off of something if you don't bring nothing to the like. I'd say this all the time. Whatever somebody does for a living, if you're a plumber, let's just say hypothetically, you're a plumber. I don't care if we're best friends. You're not giving me any of your paycheck for being a plumber. So why the fuck should somebody be able to reap the benefits of all the time and effort we put into this business, right? Yeah. You can't bring something to the table. And then the opportunity's there. I tell all my people. You know what I tell my friends with my merch? I'll charge you the cost of production. Go sell it. Take all the profit. Am I lying to my brothers out there? I've told all of my brothers that. I'm not lying.
Damn, yeah.
Go. I don't want nothing off of it.
Yeah.
I have some type of profile. Go make some type of money off of it. If they don't choose to do it, that's on you. All I can do is give an opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
I know you move a lot with people while you're on tour. Would you say like when, you said once that you invite like all your maybe not all your homies, but a lot of people that like, are a little bit into that, seeing the environment. Would you say that you gain a lot from like bringing your close friends? Like what would you say you gain from like bringing people like that? Is there anything that you would like be wary of, like advise people to be wary of when bringing your close homies?
On tour specifically?
Yeah, on tour specifically.
Take as many if you can. Take as many people as you can, man.
Yeah, you say you roll deep sometimes, like 100 deep, like
well to shows, not on tour. We've never been
not on tours.
Yeah,
to shows.
We made sure, like when I was talking about those times that when the 80 Loafs dropped and we were doing a lot of headlining shows and shit like that.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
made sure we were coming 100 strong.
Yeah.
Making a presence every time.
And what's the value in that? You know, just making sure you have like a super strong. I mean, I'm sure I can imagine what the value is, but how would you articulate it?
Well, for shows particularly is because one, the reason why I was doing that in New York, when I was doing anything in New York, is because we're stepchildren, right? We're all from Westchester here.
Yeah.
I'm from Yonkers, New York. When you're not from the boroughs, you're a stepchild.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that when people started, when they were talking about people that names was ringing bells, they would say my name and they would say Yonkers.
Yeah.
So my thing was like, anytime Yonkers came up, I wanted them to be like, oh yeah, I know Casket. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go there 5 deep and have the best song that you're performing and perform the best. And if the person that came 80 deep and had a decent song and performed decent, they're gonna get the biggest reception. So my thing was I wanted to make a presence name. Yeah, not only do we make the best music and not only do we perform our ass off, but where we're from, people believe we're somebody. You know what I'm saying? And that was my mentality doing shows. And shout out to all my brothers that made sure that happened because we were making sure, yo, let's get the whole hood out.
Yeah.
It means something. On tour, tours differently. Tour, obviously, 100 people can't come.
Yeah.
But on tour, when I get dates in, I throw it out there to anybody that's close to me, and whoever can make it, we're pressing them up until it comes. Yo, come.
Yeah, you're very like, you know, like pull up, like we got a place for you to stay type shit, transportation, like you try to offer that, you recommend that to other people as well?
Our last tour, when we went down south, we had my young boys, my brother Dublin and my young boy Leak. They came out with us. They were 18 at the time. I told them, it was like a coming of age thing for them. I'm like, yo, look, man.
Fire.
Just bring spending money. You good.
Yeah.
Fire.
You got travel. You got a place to stay. And to be honest, because it's my little brother and his right-hand man, they didn't really need spending money either. But I'm not going to tell them that. You know what I'm saying? Bring some bread. But they was good.
Yeah.
We was out there popping bottles and eating good and shooting videos, living the life.
Fire, bro.
So for me, it's like I want all my peoples there. When I'm out in a different town or city, that's not where I'm from. I want to make sure I'm with people that I love and they love me, bro. I know we good together. We're going to run together. We're going to scrap together. We're going to have a good time together. We're going to eat together. Whatever it is, we're together. I'm not, and we patched in with people all over. Shout out to my Houston fam and the people that we rock with in Florida and all over the place, especially the Northeast. We patched in. We got people we rock with everywhere, even in other boroughs out here. But it's different when you've been through the fire with somebody.
Yeah.
These dudes I'm talking about, we 20 plus years together. We've been through it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cried on their shoulders. They cried on my shoulders. We did whatever together. So it's like, I trust them with all my heart. They trust me. And that's the people I want to be around,
Facts.
And it's a good time, bro. That's the best time to bond. I promise you that's the best time to bond.
Tour.
It's the best. Because you're working, but at the same time, you're on vacation. It's like the best of both worlds. You're on vacation, but you're working. But you're working doing something that you love. Yeah. You're not working, if you're a plumber fucking fixing pipes that's just a paycheck to you. Yeah. We're doing what we love. We're shooting videos.
That's what the goal is.
We're doing press. Facts. We're recording. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We're going out and partying after that. We're going hard. It's a good time. It's the best time.
Yo, I had 3 more questions, but I could sum them all up into one question right now.
Whatever, bro. I'm on my time limit. Whatever works for you.
Going back to something I said earlier about what got you the biggest brand out of everything I just listed. I feel like all artists have at least attempted the things that you do successfully. What do you think is different about you that when you put out a video, it gets numbers? When you put out an album, people receive it. When you have shows, people pull up. What is it about you that makes it different?
I think it's a multitude of things. I think, like I said before, I put my first album out. I put several mixtapes out. I've been working a long time. I haven't really started seeing any real success until the last couple of years. But I've been doing music 20 years. So I'm consistent. I think that's key. I think a lot of artists aren't as consistent. I think a lot of artists also are trying to find what works. Where if you, I've been blessed where I put out stuff where it might not be in one demographic, like one box, right? But I don't think that can work for everybody. Because by time you can gain some type of movement in one area, if you go left field and try something else, you might lose those people that you gain there. So I just, I don't know necessarily what works for me and what doesn't work for others. But I think I also plan a lot. I strategize, and I like going back to what we talked to earlier. I don't think a lot of people do that. I think they're just, at this point, they haven't figured out the business side of things. And when I say business, not just meaning profit, because a lot of people who open their first business, they say for the first couple years, you don't make a dime, right? So it's not just about profit, but just about elevating your brand. And I'm big on marketing too. Like, I'm not scared to spend, like we was just talking prior to shooting. I was talking with G, and we was talking about animation. And in the video Lavender Wildies, I have animation in there. And shout out to my homies that, it's two brothers that I deal with. I don't want to give my sources away. That's really bad, but I love y'all for that. But I had a vision for that video. And if you want something done, you got to be willing to be able to spend too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people are fully vested, because it's hard to be fully vested in something that you're not seeing progress or gain from, whether it be monetary or not.
Yeah. Word.
It gets discouraging. This shit it's hard, bro. But, I don't know. I'm blessed, man. I think I make great music. I think I'm honest to myself. And I think I try to keep my fans involved enough. And this is something that I learned too. And for me, it works. I don't know for everybody. But I try to play the thin line where I don't oversaturate, but yet at the same time give enough content to not have them forget about me.
Yeah.
For me, oversaturation, like if you look at my page, when I put something out, that's when it get posted. That's you're gonna see that post. You're not gonna see me posting videos from 6-7 years ago. I feel like people that do that, they're not working enough now. They're living in the past. That's how I feel personally. Yeah. It's no shade, but for me, I work enough now where I don't have to live then. If you catch on to me now, you might dig deeper and find out shit that I did then, and you might love it. But I'm not sitting there beating the drum on something I did 6 years ago. That's not my peak and my hiatus. Like, I'm still striving for more. So I don't know. I think you just got to figure it out what works for you, man.
Okay. That's all I got.
Nah, bro, that's fire, bro. I couldn't be happy with how this went. Like,
this is
I think we should leave it at that.
I think people are really gonna learn from this.
Hell yeah.
I
hope
appreciate
so, man.
you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like I told you off camera, your brand is a lot bigger than ours, and I appreciate you taking the time driving up here.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. Listen, let me tell you something. I don't give a shit how big anyone's brand is. The point is you have people that listen to you that I might never have crossed their ears before, and vice versa. And if we can help one another and do something that we enjoy, then why not? And this is like a message to a lot of the younger artists in my city. I was talking to my brother OV recently. Shout out to Lost Borough. He runs Lost Borough Studios. That's our bro for a long time. And he was saying, like, he tells a lot of the artists that he deals with, like, yo, why don't you reach out to Casket, like, or like, look at Casket's blueprint. Look at what he's doing, like. And I think people feel I'm very unapproachable because I am very about us, like you guys asked. Like, it's all about in-house. I am. I don't really like, but to me, I'm cool too, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's, for me, things got to be organic. Like, just yo, talk to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem trying to give game or learn game. I don't know it all either. You know what I'm saying? We can learn from one another. Like, I'm with all of that. But I think because I'm so about us all the time, people take that as like, he wouldn't give me the time of day, or he don't give a fuck, or fuck him. Like, he don't care about anything else but us. That's not necessarily, I do care about us. That's my main focus. It's always going to be our main focus. But I am approachable, you know what I'm saying? And I do know a lot of knowledge because of trial and error for all these years. And I'm willing to, hopefully, like you said, people can learn some shit now. And I'm willing to learn shit that I don't know. We're all trying to win, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm with that, man.
Facts, bro.
I hope people gain something from it.
They definitely will, brother.
They definitely will. I would dap you up. My fingers so fucked up right now. Yeah, no.
It's I bet.
It's all good.
Yo, I mean what I said earlier too. Before we shot, we're gonna set something up for an acoustic and all of that.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Hell yeah. So, could you tell the people where to find you on social media?
Casket D. Google me.
Google me.
Google me. Yeah, it'll pop up. Everything will pop up. I'm on all social platforms. I'm on Twitter. IG is my main source. I'm on Facebook too. Facebook's more a little bit personal, but I'm there. Casket_MGB. Shout out to my brother Blizzard. He's there everywhere. Blizzard_MGB. He's got a lot of new shit coming out. A new EP coming out. And we around, man, you know. And I talk back, bro. Like I said, I'm on Instagram, man. If you want to vibe, holla at me. I try to reach back to anybody that speaks to me, like fans, personal, anything. Like, you know, I'm grateful for every single person that supports what we got going on. Mm-hmm. So I try not to be not accessible. I'm not accessible to many people in the real world, but when it comes to music and stuff like that, I am. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to engage in me and like, whatever. I got a lot of people that ask me advice, and I'm always in people's DMs responding back. So just holla at me, bro.
Bye.
Healer's out now. We here. Mad Gifted and Bothered, man.
Facts.
Hell yeah.
Let me ask y'all before we quit. Healer. You guys heard Healer?
Yeah.
What's your favorite record?
I don't know.
If you don't know the
names,
names, it's okay.
You know what? The one with Cool Kid.
Patience. That's Patience.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that.
Shout out Cool Kid as well.
I love the one that your daughter's talking on too.
Thank you. Bless
Yeah,
out. That's the single we've been pushing. I appreciate it. We shot a video for Patience as well. That'll be coming out sometime in the new year as well. Shout out to Cool Kid. Super talented dude. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. So, hey, this has been episode 9 of the Encore Podcast. If you learned anything from this, if you're an artist, you learned from it, please subscribe, join the community. We're trying to build this up to be a community of like-minded creatives, all pushing each other, helping each other, and growing together. So,
Facts.
Subscribe,
that's what it is.
man.
Yeah.
Yo.
Hell
If you
yeah.
missed the last event, please pop out to the
Yo,
next
that's
one.
another thing too. Don't throw events and not tell me, bro.
Yeah, reach out personally.
Nah, that shit look live. Like, I'll pop up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nah, bro. This
I'm with all
actually
that.
really forming a community.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think
Encore
people.
brand, this is dope.
I'm not saying you guys, but I think certain people think like my head ain't on my ass, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, bro.
Okay.
Holla at me anytime y'all got something going on. I love to support, and I love finding dope art.
Okay.
Facts.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
Thank
you so much for pulling up.
I can't tap you up.
Love.
Hell yeah.
Woo! There you go.